So, the digital ghost of Jeffrey Epstein is officially out of the bottle. We're talking about millions of his private files now public, and what's inside is, well, it's as massive as it is disturbing. Let's try and unpack what's going on with this unprecedented data release. Just to give you a sense of the scale here, we're not talking about a few emails. The release includes a truly mind-boggling 3 million emails and text messages. And on top of all that writing, there are also 180,000 images. I mean, it seems like nearly every single part of his life was documented with this obsessive level of detail. And then, yeah, there's the video. Over 2,000 separate clips, creating this huge and frankly deeply unsettling archive of his world on camera. So, all of these millions of files come straight from the U.S. Department of Justice. And what they paint is a picture of a life that was recorded just meticulously. From who was on his private jet to personal messages, it seems like almost nothing went undocumented. But here's the kicker, and this is probably the most crucial part of this whole story. This gigantic mountain of data was just dropped, made public with no official explanation, no guide, no narrative. It's like an information avalanche, and we've all been left to figure it out on our own. So, what do these files actually show us? Well, it's a really jarring and weird mix of extreme, over-the-top luxury and, well, calculated abuse. The content of the videos is just this bizarre collage of images. You've got all the typical billionaire stuff, right? Private jets, fancy pools, flashy cars. But then, mixed right in with all that, you have these incredibly disturbing scenes. Epstein literally chasing women, videos that are so explicit they're heavily blacked out, and even a secret message he filmed from his prison cell. And then you come across a quote like this, found right there in the files. It just perfectly captures that predatory vibe that seems to hang over everything. It's a really chilling comment, and it makes you look at all the footage in a different light. Let's just zoom in on that one prison clip for a second. It shows Epstein, clearly behind bars, secretly recording a message for 2 women. In this just bizarre show of defiance, he points to a mark on his face and says this really disturbing and racially charged thing. "I got it from some black guy trying to kiss me." It's really disgusting. That one clip really tells you a lot about the strange and defiant nature of the guy. Of course, you can't really talk about the Epstein story without talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. She's all over these files, and the documents show this really stark difference between her public denials and her private reality. And this right here just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got her 2016 deposition. She's under oath, flatly denying she knows anything about underage girls. Then you jump just 4 years later to the right, and it's footage from her jail cell. She looks totally relaxed, making phone calls while she's waiting for a bail hearing on charges for those exact same crimes. But her part in this isn't over. And in a twist that is just dripping with irony, Ghislaine Maxwell is actually scheduled to go and testify before Congress, under oath again, about how the government has handled these very files. You can't make this stuff up. But this whole thing is bigger than just Epstein and Maxwell. These files also start to reveal the sprawling network of connections, tying them to some very influential people and places all around the world. Take the footage from his Paris apartment, for instance. It's like a weird scavenger hunt for clues. You see a woman dancing to Pharrell's song Happy. You spot a DNA paternity test just sitting on a desk. You get confirmation that this is the same apartment where that infamous photo of British politician Peter Mandelson was taken. And you even see Epstein himself with the former French culture minister Jack Lang. Each little detail is another thread in this massive, tangled web. Okay, and we have to pause here and be super, super clear about something. Just because someone's name or face appears in these files, that does not in any way imply they did anything wrong. It's absolutely essential to remember that. We're just looking at what's been documented in the data that was released. So with all this information and all these names suddenly out in the open, what's the real impact? This isn't just about data points and files. There's a very real human cost to releasing all of this without any sort of guide for understanding it. The core problem here is just information overload. The Department of Justice has basically dumped a million-piece puzzle on the floor for us, but without the picture on the box. And that leaves everyone, journalists, the public, and most importantly, the survivors, trying to piece together a coherent story from all the chaos. And we absolutely cannot forget the human cost. For the survivors of Epstein's abuse, this huge, unfiltered data dump can be incredibly re-traumatizing. It reopens old wounds and forces them to see these painful memories discussed and dissected in the full glare of the public spotlight. One of the sources we looked at put it perfectly. It said, while the context for every single video or email might be missing, the feeling of deep discomfort definitely isn't. You feel it the whole time you're looking through this material.
And that really leaves us with this one big lingering question. When you release sensitive information on this scale into the wild, with no guidance or explanation, what is the true cost of that disclosure?